You've mentioned something really interesting, and in your books, you do mention a lot about people that influenced your career at certain points in time. One of the things we really focus with our members on is helping them build out a plan to have mentors, right? So that's a question we ask everyone that comes in: is basically how do you, as a newbie in development, a fresh programmer, how do you start out building a network of mentors that could potentially guide you through your professional career?
Well, I mean, that's a difficult thing to do in today's environment because there aren't a lot of mentors. The vast majority of programmers are young, and that's because there's this vast number of programmers entering the field every year, and that's a larger and larger number every year. So finding a mentor is a little bit tricky. Second thing that makes it tricky is that the people who are most effective at mentoring you are only a few years ahead of you. Someone who is 20 years ahead of you probably can't communicate well with you at that level. They've forgotten what it's like. And so the stuff they're talking about is way too far ahead of where you are. So you need to find someone who is just a few years ahead of you. And those people are still in the trenches, still under pressure, still focused on delivering because the deadlines are so hard. So it's difficult to convince them to give you the time to mentor them. Now, the antidote to that is another little trick that I learned pretty early on. And that is that the best way to learn something by far is to teach it. So if you have 5 or 6 years experience and you want to keep your career growing, you turn around and you find some younger people and you mentor them, and you will find that your knowledge and your facility with the skill will increase far more than theirs. That's the real key to learning and to mentoring. Be a mentor, and you will learn a tremendous amount. And of course, you'll help the younger ones who will then turn around and be mentors to the next group. And hopefully the group ahead of you will turn around and mentor you. And that gives you this wonderful feedback loop where you are learning the most by teaching what you have learned from others and what you've learned by your own experience.
That's super helpful. Hopefully people would start looking at mentorship and have people, follow them. What is it if somebody, kind of follows a different person, they're not doing any sort of mentorship? Is there a way to attract their attention? Is there a way to get them, to get themselves in that person's crosshairs, perhaps helping them with a challenge or just by doing some work that would be meaningful to that person? Have you noticed any such examples?
Well, I think it's a pretty simple thing to go to someone that you respect that's a few years ahead of you and sit down and ask them, can you help me with this problem? Or can I help you with yours? Right? I like the idea of pair programming. I think pair programming is a very good way to take advantage of this mentoring thing. So that, if you're young and you want to learn, maybe you can find someone who's 5 years ahead of you. And from time to time, just go and say, hey, can you help me with this problem? Can you sit with me for 30 minutes or 20 minutes and help me work through this code? Or maybe you can ask them, would you mind if I help you with your code? Because it looks fascinating. The problem you're doing, I think I would learn a lot. In an environment, in a culture which is open to that kind of pair programming, I think the chances for mentoring and learning are enormous.